The CO.AG is sometimes known as Australia's ghost ship, or Australia's Mary Celeste. On April the 15th, 2007, three friends set sail on their catamaran. They were on the first part of their trip from northern to southern Australia. The three men on the boat were 56-year-old Derek Batten, Peter Tunstead and his brother James. They were all experienced sailors. They had been sailing together since they were teenagers, but just 3 days into their journey, a helicopter spotted the boat adrift off the coast of the Great Barrier Reef. After the helicopter had reported this to the Coast Guard, a mission was set out to catch up with the vessel and board it, and on the 20th of April, that is what happened. The boat was then identified as the CO.AG, and what the boarding party noticed was strange to say the least. The three men were missing, but everything else seemed normal. The yacht was in working condition, and at first the boarding crew actually believed that the crew must have been on board, as there was food on the table, a laptop was still on and running, the yacht's engine was still on. It was almost as if the three men had just vanished. The only sign of damage was one of the sails, which had a rip in it, but other than that, nothing else. There were no signs that the boat had been hit by a rogue wave. The search was called off after several days, and the police said that they did not believe it was foul play, and that the men were probably just swept overboard. However, the families of the men were not convinced by this, as a lot of things just didn't seem to add up. There was a fishing line, for instance, that was found on board, and it had been put out by one of the three men. Their families argued that they would not have done this had the weather been bad, ruling out the possibility that they might have been swept overboard, as the police suggested. Plus, all of the life jackets were still on the vessel, indicating that they were never needed or used, as again, if the weather was bad, they would have put on their life jackets. These were experienced sailors. The families believed that the three men must have been abducted, and that they were still alive somewhere. It is hard to believe that these three experienced sailors would do anything that would be unsafe whilst on board the yacht. So the thought that these men were just swept overboard is a bit unlikely. So what do you think? Could the men have been abducted, or possibly swept overboard as police suggested? Or could it have been something more sinister? Some people have suggested the possibility of a USO or a UFO, or perhaps something more sinister altogether. What are your thoughts on this? Personally, I find it very interesting and very difficult to believe that these three men would have done anything that was reckless whilst on board, as they'd been sailing all their lives. Maybe something did happen, maybe they were abducted, or maybe it was something more paranormal altogether. I guess, again, maybe we'll never know. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, it does help us out a lot. Subscribe if you would like to see more of what we do. We put regular videos up onto the YouTube channel, and we shall see you in the next video.